The response to the cancer kid was, we're going to applaud this kid who's clearly fighting a valiant battle against a life-threatening disease. But you can say, at the same time, he told the kid, we're going to help you fight this. And at the same time, he was gutting, and his minions were gutting the very institutions that helped research for a cure and help you, because the kid was exposed to dangerous chemicals as a youngster, apparently. And this will be, Trump is getting rid of the EPA or eviscerating it, gutting it. So that's where you come back if you're a Democrat. You don't come back with this whiny, we need to have transgender rights. I mean, because most thinking Americans feel strongly that males should not compete against females. Biological males should not compete against biological females. That's just, and it happens, 3 times in the country. I mean, you can come out and say
it happens a little more than you would think, because we're not obviously aware of every junior high school, middle school, and high school across the country where this happens. And there was one of the people in the audience was a young woman who had been injured by a trans woman. I don't remember playing what sport, basketball, maybe?
Volleyball. Okay. She had the ball spiked in her face.
Right. So, it does happen. I mean, look, there's just aren't that many transgender athletes who are performing, at all at any kind of level. So it's interesting because it's like, I think most Americans think this is a problem. Polls show that most Democrats show that it's a problem, think it's a problem, but it's not a big problem because it doesn't happen all the time. This is really such a classic wedge issue, right? It's like flag burning in the 1990s. How many people are burning flags anyway? Like
probably a lot more than transgender athletes. I guarantee you that.
The point is, but it's a classic wedge issue. Republicans have obviously been benefiting from it. And unlike the 90s when, Bill Clinton had Dick Morris to advise him, Democrats don't seem to understand when they're getting their butts kicked by a wedge issue, even while it's happening. And they keep at it. But I mean, I wanted to sort of get into, look, I agree with everything you said, Scott. I mean, the Democrats looked ridiculous. And, we can commiserate, we can empathize with their plight. They don't have the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court. The only thing they've really got going for them is the press. But that's not a small thing, and they should be able to leverage that. And what they have to determine is sort of, do we want to resist the Republicans at all? There's an argument which, of all people, James Carville, the Raging Cajun, or I guess the no longer Raging Cajun, he has argued in the op-ed pages of the New York Times and online that for the time being, when your enemy is making a mistake, let him stay out of the way. Let Donald Trump and the Republicans screw up. In some respect, they're doing so many things, they're bound to mess something up. Maybe the economy, maybe something else. Let them fall flat on their face. Then you can swoop in and pick up the pieces. Just zip it and be quiet. That is an argument. That is a strategy. Or you can say, we're going to be the party of capital R resistance. We're going to show that we're going to do everything we can to stop Trump and all of his works. We're basically that was the approach that Senator Mitch McConnell advocated when he became, oh my God, my cat's going crazy. He's attacking my jacket. Anyway, Mitch McConnell said under Obama, not once but twice, I'm going to make sure he doesn't get anything done. First, I'm going to make sure he's a one-term president. When he failed at that, he's like, well, I'm going to make sure he's not going to have any legacy. Republicans really held the line. They did everything they could. They were obstructionist. So you can be obstructionist, or you can just sit on your hands. Those are your choices. It doesn't seem like Democrats have even figured that out, whether they want to resist or not. And then if they were to congressmen, resist, how would they do it? Right?
10 Democratic congressmen voted in the censure against Congressman Green for yelling at the president.
Okay, so that's insane.
Yes.
I don't
I mean,
think
that's
that
nuts.
I don't
I don't
know
think it
that.
was a good moment, but it was, and I don't know
No,
that it was a states, but like I said, they didn't kick out Taylor Greene or what,
no.
Marjorie Taylor Greene when she did
Mhm.
the exact same thing. So
The-
you could make that case, but that just sounds like whining. I'm looking at the Carvel, thinking of the Carvel. You and I have talked about this off and on the podcast. Is that the right approach? Should they, for instance, should the Democrats just not have shown up to the State of the Union
I mean,
address?
I was thinking with the benefit, of course, hindsight 50, 2020, blah, blah, blah. But I was thinking that given how lame the paddles were and everything, I mean, Babylon Beat, not always that funny, right wing, it's the right wing version of The Onion, but they had a pretty funny article recently,
What
yesterday,
was it?
which was Hitler defeated by opposition party holding paddles. And Hitler's like, and, I mean, it is ridiculous. They all looked like they were, attending a Sotheby's auction. They were about to buy a Banksy painting or something. And even the execution of the signs was lame. Like, first of all, no one knows why they're all these women are all wearing pink, and why are they not all wearing pink? If they're including the guys, if you're gonna do
Yeah.
it, you
Yeah.
should all do it, or nobody should do it. What does it even mean? There was no communication whatsoever. I don't even know. They were wearing pink. That's it. They weren't part of Code Pink, the opposition group. Why were they wearing pink? I don't know. And it's like, why are they holding up little signs that no one can see? And when you can see them, it's like the one side says like Musk lie, Musk steals or something, and the other one
which is
says
still,
false. Like, false? What do you mean false? How about lie? Right? Hold the so that whenever Trump says something that's not true, it's like lie. I mean, it's still stupid. The Democrats, did look really strange. They have a congresswoman who's bald for no apparent reason. There's another one who looks like she's got purple hair, who looks like she was run over by a train. We don't know what that's all about. I mean, not that the Republicans don't have their own, bestiary of bullshittery.
oh yeah,
Marjorie Taylor Greene being an example of that. They did look like a bunch of like inbred, like, KKK members, granted, but it's like, right now the topic here is the Democrats. What can they do to resist? This is not what resistance looks like. Over the past few weeks, we have seen some really lame attempts to quote unquote resist. You may not have noticed, Scott, and I could forgive you for not noticing, but a week ago, today, Friday, February 28th, was supposed to be a day of national resistance when you were not supposed to buy anything. Consumer boycott, because you were going to show that you were angry at Trump. How this was going to affect Trump, I don't know, but somehow this was going to happen. It was a viral computer thing. It obviously nothing happened. In fact, actually, Amazon, which is the main target of this, their revenues went up about 1.1% last Friday, inexplicably. And like, so people that, well, Ted, you're so smart. What do you want us to do? And I'm like, I want you to start building a real grassroots left organization outside of the Democratic Party. Yeah, but what can we do now? You can start building a grassroots left of the Democrats organization outside of the party. Yeah, but we need to do something now. You can't do anything now. If you do something now that you are guaranteed to lose, you're going to demoralize the left even more than it already is. So don't do anything. Either do it right, do something that at least has a chance of success. Don't do anything that has no chance of success. I mean, I was thinking, with the benefit of hindsight, they should have just not shown up. I mean, after all, the Democrats are just there getting insulted, and they can't even rally. They can't even rally their own troops, right? I mean, they have Senator Elizabeth Warren, a longstanding senator, fairly high-ranking, well respected within the conference, and and here the president is calling her with racist terms, Pocahontas, during a joint session of Congress. I mean, and not only did they not all stand up and say "fuck you," or like leave or start screaming at him, but nobody did. She didn't even stand up for herself and say "fuck you." I mean, that's
Yeah.
how completely like useless they are. They don't even know how, it's like a member of your a U.S. senator, a woman, has just been insulted. Native Americans have just been insulted right
Yeah.
here by the president like that shouldn't stand. Even if you hate Elizabeth Warren, she'd be like, no, we're out. And I do think that going forward, I think it would those empty seats would speak volumes. I mean, I think, the Democrats are worried
Well,
that they'd
certainly
be
more
perceived.
articulately than the butts that were in them.
Well, that's true. Yeah. No, I mean, it might, I guess you could say like, well, we need to show that we're present and that we're participating. I don't know. I think you either don't show, or you sit there and you behave like with total proper decorum, or you raise all manner of hell. You have to commit to a course of action. You can't just be all over the place and be like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We have one guy who waves his cane. Then we have a third of us, with paddles, another third wearing purple for some reason that nobody knows. And then the paddles don't say anything that makes sense. And, some of us are grousing, and then some of us are applauding some parts that we like, and we're a la carting this. It's like, it's really simple. It's about messaging, and the messaging is completely unclear. I mean, I can't tell you what Democrats want to do. I can't tell you if they want to do anything. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think going back to the Pocahontas thing, which was stunning, and the fact that nobody stood up for her, it would be like, at that point, you just have to say, okay, fuck you. We're out of here. It became, and you knew, you had a sense, because there is a track record here. He has been president before. So we know that he was going to turn this into a rally, which he did.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He went off script several times. He meandered. It was a lot of focus on immigration. He clearly thinks that's and it is, frankly, the issue that's winning, not just here in the United States, but across the globe and Western countries. But the Democrats had to know that something like this was coming, and they always seem surprised.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing this guy does. This guy is all about surprising you and throwing you off your game. Mm-hmm. And the trick, it seems to me, the Democrats need to show. And I know, listen, Ted, we get a lot of bullshit. Why is Scott talking about what the Democrats should do? He's a Republican. Because I love politics, and I love good politics. And I love well-crafted politics and effective politics. And the Democrats are doing none of those.
And also because you don't like Donald Trump. And I think you would like to see
I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like a lot of what he's doing. I think that his financial agenda is going to be catastrophic for the American people. He thought so. Someone finally spoke to him and got through that orange hair of his and convinced him of the same thing, about the tariffs, that the tariffs were a terrible idea.
And the mass firings.
Well, that's still going to go through. I mean,
that appears to be winding down a bit.
It's winding down a bit, but you've got an employment report that just came out this morning, 150,000 new jobs. But you balance that against all the cuts that Musk has made. It's going to be, a big negative number. And I think Trump and his people say this is going to be bad. I mean, every economist in the world says this is going to be bad. Trump has been talking about tariffs since the 80s. He's one of these guys who gets convinced of an idea that's so good that it hasn't been tried. Well, dude, it was tried. Look at the 19th century, all of it in the United States. That we tried it a lot, and it was a train wreck. It did not work. So, you can read a book, but that's asking an awful lot of the of this White House. But where are the Democrats? So saying all of that, I say the Democrats because I believe in a strong opposition. I think in vigorous opposition. That's how things get done. That's how things get decided and settled on. And we're not anywhere near that because, as Ted pointed out, I can't tell you right now what the Democrats stand for other than they oppose Donald Trump. Past that, I got nothing. I can't. And so Ted's coming out with a book soon, which all of you should buy, which is effectively establishes a platform for the left. And that's what they need. How did the Republicans win under Newt Gingrich? The contract with America. They took the House with it because Americans knew what they were voting for. Now, if the Democratic Congress contract with America is all of this identity bullshittery that they've been spewing, and they seem to think that's still a winning combination. It's not.
And it's incoherent. I mean,
and it's incoherent.
Like nobody even understands it, right? I mean, it's like the whole like, okay, so what is this all about, and how is it affecting us? And I mean, there's no messaging on it. I mean, I think it was Gavin Newsom who recently came out and said that
the last few days.
And also he said that he sat down at some, he thinks it's silly when he goes to some conference and everybody, is like he has to say my pronouns are him, his, and it's kind of like, we know you're a dude, Gavin. He's like, I know I'm a dude. I know Why do we have to say this? It's like a land, it's like a land recognition, thing. It's like we stand here, a land acknowledgement. We stand here on the sacred ground of the Lenape people who were all slaughtered and whose blood soaks the soil and comes out on a rainy day and stains our white shoes. I mean, it's like, what? I mean, what do you think you're accomplishing? It's like,